The Pink Pulpits Podcast, the gospel according to her. The Pink Pulpits Podcast explores the living, learning, and leading of women in the 21st century. How does the modern woman handle the world the gospel way? This podcast is for women in ministry, women surrounded by ministry, and so many more. Join us weekly on Saturdays at 6 p.m. for the Pink Pulpits Podcast, the gospel according to her.
Hey, this is Lady Nicole, and welcome to a new episode of the Pink Pulpit Podcast. I'm really excited about us taking this journey together. This really is the gospel according to her. And so many of you have taken this journey, started this journey, or this may be your first time connecting with our podcast, but this is about real women with real life. And they have decided to walk in their own pulpit, whether it be the pulpit of the marketplace, the pulpit of ministry, or the pulpit of everyday life. This conversation, I believe, is a conversation that so many people want to have and haven't the community to have it. But welcome to our pulpit. Again, this is the Pink Pulpit Podcast, the gospel according to her. And this is where we unpack real life strategies for women who are ready to embrace the pulpit of their lives. Whether you're leading in the marketplace, leading in ministry, or leading in helping others, today's topic is one that can completely transform your life, like shift your life to a whole nother place. The power of discipline. I know you said, skirt. You said, wait a minute. Discipline is one of those words that is, it's a challenging word. Sometimes it's a bad word for a lot of us, but discipline, I know it's not popular, but it's one of the most transformative words that can take your life to a whole nother place. If you've ever felt stuck or overwhelmed or unsure about your next steps, discipline, I believe, can be the key that unlocks your ability to become unstoppable. Discipline is that thing that separates the successful, the average, and the not successful. Discipline is that word that I believe just separates the ones of us that really know we want more and we want better. In today's episode, I want to share a story that I believe will inspire you. And then I want to give you some powerful principles to help you get unstuck and really live a life of discipline. And then I'm going to give you practical takeaways to help you win as you walk discipline out in your life. So let me start with a story. And my admin talks about this being one of her people in the Bible that's one of her most favorites. And that woman's name is Deborah. In Judges 4, she wasn't just sitting under her palm tree waiting for things to happen. And I'm talking to you today that you're sitting and you're waiting. You're sitting and saying, how? You're sitting saying, what do I need to do? And this woman, she was a judge, a prophetess, a warrior. But what made her stand out wasn't just her titles, it was her discipline. Watch this. I know. Because we hear about Deborah and we hear about her being this judge and this prophetess and this warrior and all these great things. But I believe what separated Deborah was her disciplined life. It was her discipline to hear God's voice and act decisively. She could have let fear paralyze her when Barak hesitated to lead the charge. But instead, her discipline to stay faithful, to her calling allowed her to boldly declare, "The Lord will deliver Syria into the hands of a woman." I know this is our conversation, right? Deborah's discipline set her apart, and because of it, she became unstoppable. I really do feel like one of my calls, one of the things that God has commissioned for me to do for so many people that I mentor, that I coach, is to get you unstuck and make you unstoppable. I really do. I feel like I am anointed wherever you may find yourself, whatever stuck place you may be, to shift you out of that place of being stuck and get you to a new way of operating, and that is unstoppable. Now watch this. Let's talk about how you can tap into that same power of discipline. And our subject today, the power of discipline. Now, discipline, I believe, creates clarity. So many times, I believe one of the reasons why we cannot move forward and really be successful and just conquer these different places in our lives is because we don't have clarity. Proverbs 4:25 says, "Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you." Discipline clears the clutter. When you are disciplined in setting goals and sticking to them, you begin to see what God has placed before you. And you lack the cloudiness of the moment or the unknown. I believe that one of the areas of my life that I have really been really great at, and can I really be honest, the reason why I wanted to talk about the power of discipline this episode is because in the last, I would say, 6 or 7 months, I have not been as disciplined as I normally am. Now, one thing about me is I'm just a disciplined individual, but I have been so undisciplined in this last 7 months that I can see the effects of it. I can see the lack of discipline and how it is infiltrating my life. And you may listen to this right now. You may be viewing this right now, and you may be saying, "I'm not a disciplined person at all. And I don't know how to get disciplined." Well, today I want to talk to you about it. And so for some of us to say, "Hey, I'm a little more disciplined than most, but I'm nowhere near the discipline level that I know I need to be as successful as I want to be." I'm talking to you. And those of you that say, "Hey, I'm pretty disciplined, but I know I want to go further." The way you go further, the way that you become more successful is to the level that you will discipline your flesh, that you will discipline your emotions, that you will discipline your life. Now, watch this. The lack of discipline leads to distractions because focus sharpens your vision. Can you put that in the chat? Focus will sharpen your vision. Start your day with intention. And this is what I do. And this is what I'm talking about the last 7 months. That I write down my priorities. And then I let discipline guide my decisions. I write down every day, these are my priorities for today. And then I let discipline, the fact that I've written these things down, now say, these are the things that I'm going to focus on and that I'm going to complete today. So let your discipline guide your decisions. Then the second thing I want you to know is that discipline births strength. When you're disciplined, there's something about that gives you a fortitude and a drive and this stance to stay in place. The scripture for that, I think, is Hebrews 12:11, that says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. And later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained in it." Can you meditate on that this week? I think this will just sharpen you and really change the trajectory of you understanding what discipline really is and what it does. It says no discipline seems pleasant at the time. I know you're like, oh no, I don't want to be disciplined. It's not pleasant, but and even sometimes, can I be honest with you, it can be very painful. It can be
Enjoying the Pink Pulpits
frustrating. It
podcast?
can
Be sure
get on
to
your
like and follow
nerves.
us on
But the
Spotify
scripture
at Pink
says,
Pulpits
but it
Podcast.
produces a
Subscribe
harvest
to our
of
YouTube at
righteousness
Pink Pulpits
and peace.
Podcast. Like
I,
and
I,
save our
I'm
website at
telling you that as I
pinkpulpits.org
was getting
and get
ready and
our
about
amazing
this
No More Silly Women
episode,
app
and
to
because there's
get
some
all
areas that I'm
updates
saying
on the
I've
Pink
got to
Pulpits
sharpen up,
podcast. And remember,
discipline is
it's
that
the gospel
area
according
that it
to her.
produces righteousness and peace, and for those who have trained by it. Discipline might feel uncomfortable, but it's your training ground. Okay. This is so good today. It's your training ground. Just like a seed needs pressure to sprout, discipline strengthens your character, your faith, and your resolve. Discipline strengthens your character, your faith, and your resolve. Stop running from hard things. They're building the spiritual and emotional muscle you need to handle your next level. You've got to learn how to discipline yourself. So when the hard things happen, you got to be so disciplined and focused to stay and stand in that thing that I'm going to do it until I complete it. I'm going to do it until it's finished. I'm going to do it until I'm done. Discipline is about doing it until you're done. That I know. You need to just write that down. You need to tweet that out. You need to just say, I'm going to discipline and see it through until it's done. And then discipline, I believe, unlocks freedom. At least for me, it does. That 2 Timothy 1 and 7 says, for the spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. Can I dive into that a little more? The closer you are to the Spirit of God, to that one that lies on the inside of you, it gives you power, love, and self-discipline. People think that discipline limits you, but it's actually the key to freedom. It's the key that unlocks your ability. It's the key that gives you the stamina, that gives you the focus and gives you the drive. When you're disciplined with your time, your energy, and your resources, you stop feeling stuck. I know. For all of you that said, how do I get unstuck? Right here. Discipline your time, discipline your energy and your resources, and you will stop feeling stuck. You get more done with less stress, and you live with more peace. Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, but it's about living in alignment with God's best for you. It's about self disciplining so that I'm so in alignment with where God has taken me that I don't have time to go in another direction. Discipline unlocks freedom. And what I need for you to know is that discipline fuels purpose. Proverbs 16 and 3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. You've been trying to figure out how to get going, how to get that thing off the paper and get it actually into manifestation. Discipline aligns your actions with God-given purpose. When you're consistent in your habits, you create momentum that propels you towards your destiny. Can I say that again? When you are consistent in your habits, I've watched the first half of this year, I was really disciplined in certain habits, and I saw myself go further. I saw things happening in a higher rate at a quicker time frame. And when I started to allow my discipline to falter and to fall off, the momentum that had been created kind of stifled. It kind of held up a little bit. And I wasn't being propelled towards my destiny like I was at the very beginning. And so I want you to get this in your mind. When you're consistent in your habits, you create a momentum that propels you towards your destiny. And discipline isn't about being busy, it's about being intentional with your time and energy so that you accomplish what truly matters, what truly is going to get you to your place called there. The thing that's getting ready to transform you and to grow you and to get you into manifestation mode. Momentum in being disciplined, it gives you this momentum to get you into manifestation mode where you're going from manifestation to manifestation to manifestation. And purpose requires consistency. And consistency is rooted in discipline. The more you're consistent, the more disciplined you're going to be. And discipline fuels purpose. Now, I want you to really hear me in this moment. As you're getting ready to take away from what we've talked about today, I want to give you a few things to kind of start you in this place of discipline. Things that I've done, and I've watched how my life has transformed when I'm way more disciplined. So for the next 21 days, as you're ending this year, going into a next one, choose one area in your life, whether it be prayer, fitness, finances, or just plain old focus, and practice discipline consistently for 21 days in that area. How do you do it? Create accountability. Find a sister, a mentor, or a coach, or someone in our Pink Pulpit community. And I want you to check in with them weekly, saying, hey, this is the place that I decided to discipline myself. Because discipline thrives in community. And then when you do that, I want you to write down the 3 things that you're going to do so that they can hold you accountable. And then I want you, and this is where I'm really hard, is celebrate the wins. Reward yourself for showing up and celebrate the small victories along the way, because I believe that discipline needs you to tell it, hey, look at what we've accomplished. Look at what we've done. And discipline really is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. Because you should go from being disciplined in this area to the next area to the next area, and you look up and your whole life, you have a total life of discipline. As we close, I want you to remember that discipline isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about choosing daily to show up, grow up, and level up in every area of your life. Deborah didn't wait for perfect conditions. Can I say that again? Deborah didn't wait for perfect conditions. You got to discipline your flesh, because I believe it is a gateway to get you out and to really, can I be honest with you? It's kind of to gank yourself. You keep saying, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that. But the real fact is you're just not disciplined. You're not disciplined to do it until it's done. Wow. And in the most frustrating of places, or the most challenging of places, you got to make that decision. You know what? I'm going to do it until it's done. Deborah didn't stop. She trusted God, stayed disciplined, and you saw her walk in victory. And you can do the same if you will discipline that you. Discipline that woman. Discipline that flesh. Discipline your mind. Discipline your body. Discipline. Write that word down. As you get ready to look at how do I go further, grow higher, grow, I've got a discipline. And if there's one thing that I want you to understand is that discipline is the denominator that dictates your outcome. Discipline is that denominator that separates the wheat from the tare, that separates the super successful from the average and the unsuccessful. Discipline is that separation. The more disciplined you are, the further you go. The more disciplined you are, the more you'll have. The more disciplined you are, the more you'll see peace and the right standing of all you want come to fruition. I want to thank you today for joining me on the Pink Pulpit Podcast. And if this episode inspired you, share it with another woman. Share it with another friend who's ready to become unstoppable, who's ready to really be disciplined, who wants to go further. Let's keep this conversation going on social media, in your pulpit. And until next time, stay disciplined, stay determined, and watch how God is going to move in our lives. That this is the gospel according to her, where faith meets real life and the pulpit of your life becomes a platform of transformation. I love this conversation of discipline. And let's do it. I know it's tight, but it's right. I'm Lady Nicole Green. Let's get disciplined together and let's transform our lives in our own pulpits. The gospel according to her.
Tune in next week for the Pink Pulpits Podcast, the gospel according to her. Be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe to this amazing weekly podcast with your host, Lady Nicole Green. That's right, the Pink Pulpits Podcast, the gospel according to her.